tongue lifts. And I can do that. So usually I pull this and I say to show them that the tongue lifts for the, and they can say sopping, 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 sopping.
Is there quite good videos with animation?
There are lots of good videos with that, yeah. Are you telling me there are, you're asking?
Telling.
Yes, yeah, there are fantastic videos. The BBC has a really good one.
You're very used to great information.
Okay. Moving on to the practical thing, the practical part now. Well, that was probably more practical, but how many parts are there to the IELTS? The IELTS speaking, sorry. Oh. 3. There are 3 parts. And what are they? What's part 1?
Personal questions.
What is, yeah, but what style of speaking is it? What interaction pattern is it? Well done. It is an interview style. Be careful because there are 3 different styles of speaking. One of them is an interview style. And they don't teach you that in the books. Okay, they don't teach you that in the books. I was going to ask, how long is part 1? What is part 2?
Preparation for 1 to 2 minutes.
What is it? Part 1 is an interview. What's part 2? Presentation. It is a mini presentation. Today I'm going to talk about. So first one is a question and answer. Question, answer, question, answer. Second one I'm going to tell you about. So this is testing presentation skills in English. Spoken presentation skills. And the third part, two-way conversation. So there's 3 different styles of speaking. One is an interview. I know that's two-way, but in part 3, they can ask the examiner questions. You know, what do you think, Mrs. Examiner or Mr. Examiner? They can ask. So that's quite important to understand. The students, they need to understand these are different speaking techniques needed for an interview, presentation, and the conversation. So, I'll give you an example. You and your family, job and studies, home, country, friends and relationships, interests, hobbies, daily routine. Okay? There are 2 purposes to part 1. What are they? One is to answer general questions. General, about you. Okay? Part 1 is about you. It's not about what about the families in Vietnam or in your country, what do people do at the weekend. It's not, it's about you. You talk about yourself. I, me, I and my family. Okay? And there's another key thing. Do you know what it is? That. Part 2 and part 3 are much more difficult than part 1. The student goes into the exam and they're scared. They're scared, they're worried. They have a test. And with that test, they go to university or they don't go to university. So they are worried. So part 1, they ask simple questions about you so you can feel more confident and relaxed for the more difficult parts. Example interaction. The examiner asks questions and you give answers. The person gives answers, so I apologise for the S missing there. I did use it as you give answers, okay? Because I've used this also for students, but modified version.
Wait, didn't they just switch roles?
No, they didn't.
Oh, I see.
Is it difficult to understand?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I know why. I first used this in Saudi Arabia as well, and normally you would have a speaker on this side too. The examiner on this side. I used it in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so he is the examiner, okay, and she is the student, okay? So, but no, they didn't switch roles. he asks questions.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the arrow was pointing to the person who asks questions.
Watch.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
It came out of his mouth, watch. And then she gives answers, okay? Yeah?
Okay, but I think you understand why we
His nose is closed.
Without animation, it won't work.
Right, okay, so can you tell me a little about yourself? Normally, if you said to me, tell me about yourself. My name's Oliver. Oh. This is not a natural answer. You wouldn't say this. Hi, tell me about, well, I come from a large family. You wouldn't do that in normal English situation, okay?
But you would in an interview.
But yes, okay, so what we've got to do here is, again, they're showing what they can do. So they give a longer, even though the answer is not really natural, it's showing them that they, one, they understand, and two, they're able to communicate something effectively. I will email you this, okay, because I made it, it should work in most forms of PowerPoint. So tips for speaking. Any tips? What kind of tips would you give to a student? So the tips coming now are for the students.
Relax.
Whoa! Dun, dun, dun. First one is relax. I'll show you the rest, okay? It's easier said than done. Of course it's easier said than done. Hey, I want you to act naturally, but I'm scared. I can't act naturally. Third one is to give longer answers than you normally would. Okay? They always have a problem here. Because how do you give a longer answer? The way to give longer answers is to ask yourself questions. I live in Hanoi, which is in the north of Vietnam. There are millions of people living there. The weather's quite hot. Of course, you ask the questions in your head. You do not say, I live in Hanoi. Where is it? Well, it's in the north. How many people are there? Well, you don't ask the question out loud, but you ask yourself, the student. This is information for the student. Okay?
Also, give reasons. Sometimes they ask questions like...
that will come up more. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No.
Like, for example, do you like flowers? Do you like traveling? And so don't just say yes or no, give a reason.
Extended answers. Give a reason and an example. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a sec. Presentation. What is the presentation? What is it? A presentation of what?
Another topic.
Topic. It is always a topic, and the topic could be
Phones.
whatever. Yeah, it could be phones, or it could be friends. Okay, could be phones. It could be your favourite gadget. It could be life in a city as opposed to life in a country. Okay, so it's always a topic. How many stages are there to part two? Two. Okay, what's the first stage?
Preparation.
Which is what?
1 minute.
Of doing what?
They can jot down notes.
Say notes. Okay. How long is that? 1 minute. How long do they speak for?
1 to 2 minutes.
Okay, up to 2 minutes. So they have a total of 3 minutes. The part is 4 minutes because of the examiner giving instructions, ending part 2. Okay. Take notes and speak alone. What do you think some of the mistakes students make when they take notes?
Maybe too long.
Yeah, they write full sentences. Talk about your favourite holiday. I went on holiday to... Please start. They can't. They also don't know how many words you can say in 60 seconds. Or rather, how many syllables. How many words do you think you can say in 120 seconds? Quick guess. Don't try and work it out. How many?
About 600.
600?
Way too much.
1,000 if no one understands me.
Maybe.
You could say approximately, very easily, 4 words per second. Where are you from? It's less than a second. Where are you from? Okay, so if we even work out words a second. Okay, that's 4 sixes. That's 400. That's 500. 500 words. That's a page or page and a half A4. And now they don't know. Okay, they have a big problem. Stage 1. This is an example. The examiner will give them a piece of paper and explain what is needed. I would like you to talk about a childhood friend. You have 1 minute to take some notes if you wish, and they explain it. They have 60 seconds, and 60 seconds, not 65, 60 seconds. What should they do? What advice would you give, if you can? What advice would you give somebody who has been given this?
Think of sort of.
Before you start thinking.
Okay.
Use keywords.
For preparation of the presentation.
The WH question words,
Oh, yeah.
you must be aware, you should answer these. So 1 is to describe, then it's broken down into more information. And there's a how long, what and why, the WH question words. They can add extra. They can add extra. When? What for? Who with? They can add extra information. But this is a prompt. It's only to help. They can give extra information. That is, so it doesn't just say describe a friend. They give this to say, and here's some help. So, these are my notes coming up now. Yeah.
It says you should say, so they must answer those, or else they will lose points.
No. Okay. That is, they should go through these if they can. If they don't, there are 2 things that can happen. 1, they don't finish talking about this because time runs out. And the examiner will stop them. They will very clearly, if you're here and it's 2 minutes, they will thank you. They will hand down, which is an international non-offensive gesture. Okay? Which that could be offensive, that could be offensive, shut up could be offensive. So they do this very clear, this meaning stop. And they must be aware that it's okay for the examiner to stop them. 1, they may not be able to finish them. 2, they may go and you answer other questions. Fine, if they are relevant to this. Not, we've been friends for 10 years. My friend's favourite colour is yellow, and that's because he lives in... That is wrong. However, if they're relevant to this, then they don't necessarily need to answer these. These are prompts, and that is why it says should and not must. Okay, it says you should say. They base you on the quality of your language and whether you achieve task achievement. Have you completed the task? Okay. So, I wrote 5 years old, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. They can write in Vietnamese. It's not a problem. They can write what they want. The important thing is that they don't start writing long sentences. So, one of the skills, let me remove these because I know you're going to read them instead of, which is what we do. One of the skills they need is actually being able to plan. Don't think, I'm going to get you to plan and talk. No. I'm going to give you 4 different part 2 tasks. And I'm going to give you 60 seconds for each of them. You have 4 minutes to write about all of them. You're not going to speak. You're not going to speak. You're going to plan the stages. So that's a key before they then speak. And then you can say, choose which one you want to, and then talk to somebody about it, okay? And there are free websites with hundreds of examples. Hundreds. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to do this badly. Are you ready? I would like somebody to time me.
Got it.
In seconds.
Okay.
Tell me when.
When you're
3, 2, 1, go. Today I'm going to describe a friend I had when I was a child. We met at school. We're friends now. We did sports. I like him because he's funny.
9 seconds.
9 seconds. Okay. And that is what a lot of students don't understand. They don't know they have to give all of this extra information. You can do this in less than 10 seconds. And there are 120 seconds. So they must elaborate. They must learn to. How you first met at school? When? First day. How old were you? 5. How long? Still friends. How long? More than 35 years. What we do? Sports. I need to give some examples. Not, I'm going to start writing badminton and tennis and football. I just write this so I know I need to give examples. Helpful. How? This is because, let me move on. It's quicker. So you take notes, and then she speaks about the topic to him. Alright, let's look at some tips. Short notes, extra info, paraphrase. What is paraphrasing?
Rewording the question.
Yeah, a lot of them will make the mistake of reading it exactly as it's written. That's not counted.
Shouldn't there be an R? A second R?
Paraphrase. Well done, sir. My God, there's a mistake.
Okay. Forgiven.
You're horrible. Yeah.
Yay.
Okay, so paraphrase. An example of paraphrasing. Many students will say, I'm going to describe a friend I had when I was a child. No score. You did not speak for those that you didn't speak because you repeated that. She said, talk about instead of describe. She talked about little girl instead of child. She paraphrased. Really important skill that they need to learn. And stage effectively. First I'm going to tell you about now I'm going to tell you about Finally, I'm going to explain why. Thank you for listening, I have finished. Staging effectively. So it's clear. I finished this part, I'm now moving on to this. I finished this, I'm moving on to this. I finished everything, thank you for listening. They mumble. School. What? Okay? And they get a low score because the examiner is unable to understand them, okay? Part 3. Two-way discussion. Always, always, always connected to part 2. If part 2 is about tell me about a friend, part 3 is friendship. If part 2 is about a meal you had, part 3, food. Okay, always connected. So this one would be describing friendship. I'll email this to you. Okay, it is a two-way conversation. The examiner and the candidate can ask each other questions. Okay? The examiner will not give long answers. So what do you think, Mrs. Examiner? She's not going to speak for an hour. She will give a short answer, but it will be a good way of getting the skill of conversing with somebody.
May I interrupt you again?
No. So, yeah.
I've been following the format given to me here at Scott's, and the only difference between part 1 and part 3 is part 1 questions tend to be personal, about you, your friends, your family, and part 3 questions are general. Talk about society, talk about change in the future and such. There is no accommodation for a conversation in the questions given in part 3.
The student at a higher level is expected to ask a question of the examiner.
I see.
You're expected to be able to ask them a question. Otherwise, at no point in here is there, can you ask a question? Okay, so they're expected to ask a question in part 3. So try to get them to, what about you? Could be something simple. Okay? It's not going to be, what do you think we can do to solve the socio-economic institute? They're not going to expect that kind of question unless it's relevant. She used some particular fillers. okay, the technique she used. Because in English and most languages, I believe, most cultures, there is a pause of 3 seconds before you feel embarrassed. So if I'm talking to you and I suddenly decide to, you laugh, and not because it's funny. You laugh because you feel uncomfortable. You do not laugh because it's funny. Okay, so the thing we do, if I talk to you and then suddenly I decide to stop in the middle of it, you laugh again. What we do, I apologize, you smiled, and you went red. Yes. Okay.
I'm red anyway.
The two things we do are we repeat what's been said. Yeah, I went to the. You went to that. We try to prompt. Those are the two things we do. We do not normally sit there like this. We feel embarrassed after 3 to 4 seconds, and we try to. We smile through being uncomfortable, or we try to repair the situation. Okay. So you need to let them know that there are the. So is it easier to make friends now than in the past? When I was young, that's really bad. Whereas, is it easy to make friends now than anything? Well, let me try to remember. Give me a couple of seconds. They need these little skills, these fillers. Part 3 is different to part 1 as it is more complicated and the questions become increasingly more difficult. They become more and more difficult. That means question 2 is more difficult than 1. 3 is more than 2, 6 more than 5. They become more and more difficult. Okay? And the examiner may skip to a higher level question because the student is at band 7, band 8. Okay, so very important that you give a detailed answer. I've put these in the wrong way. It should really be the example. Okay, so tell me about this. I like this. I like eating many different foods, or Vietnamese food is very good because it's very tasty and cheap. You can buy bun cha for less than $1. Okay, so I should put that first, okay? First an opinion, then a reason for your opinion, and then an example. Not just an opinion, not just a reason, and not just an example. So please switch that, opinion, reason, example. I will send this to you. What's coming up now is what I added today specifically for us to work together with. Have you seen this before?
Mm-hmm.
This is called the public descriptors page. This is only 1 page. The examiner's one is 5 pages. The examiner version of this for speaking is pages and pages and pages. And when I became an examiner, I tried to take a photo and they threatened to kick me off the. You cannot find the examiner versions of these. You can't find them. I was everywhere, you know? Torrent website, nowhere. Offering to pay people, no. These are the things we need to look at. There are specific areas that I'm not going to go into now. I know it looks complicated. I record every single student. I've got them all uploaded on my drive. I literally open up, record. When I do a test, I press record and I leave it recording for the whole duration of the test. If there are 20 students, originally I would pause, stop, save, rename, upload. Now, all I do now is when the student comes in and I have this as a piece of paper, I write down the time they started on this. I can refer back to it instead of having to search. So I've got 1 now for every test instead of 36, which is a bit insane.
Can you record with Google Drive, or you have to record?
I've got mine automatically backed up to Google Drive. I've done it on my phone, so they auto saves every 10 or 15 minutes. Okay? You don't need to do that. You do what you want, you know. These are the ones you're going to be looking at. Again, I'm not going to go into detail on this because you can look at these and we will look at them in the future. But fluency and coherence together, vocab, and you've got some, I'm not going to look at this now, it's too text heavy.
A lot of these are a little bit confusing because for a certain band, they just refer to other bands like
More than band 5,
yes.
but less than band 7.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. We will have a look at that. Not now, but we can have a look at the future one. Okay. This school provides a book. Okay, the book they provide is this one. You will need about content from about 6 books. Okay? At this level, you will need resources from that book plus another 5 to 6 books. Don't worry, because there are key books that I've got and I can share with you. I've got them available on my drive. The students do need a book for the simple fact is they've got some sense of completion. Okay? Instead of not having a book, there's no sense of completion towards the end of the course. You know, when they finish the course, they should finish the book. Okay, basically, you've got the grammar and the vocab, the lexical resource and the grammar range and accuracy. These are specific for IELTS. They will come up with common mistakes that IELTS students make, regardless of whether they're French, Chinese, Spanish, German, Vietnamese, Singapore, it doesn't matter. They come up with common ones. The books are these. Phrasal verbs, idioms and collocations. Phrasal verbs are words, verb plus preposition. Example, stand down, meaning not stand up. Stand up is a prepositional verb. It means stand up. A phrasal verb is a verb and a preposition, which is not obvious from the components. So stand up, sit down, they are not phrasal verbs, they are prepositional verbs. Whereas come down here, come down, that is not a phrasal verb. But I'm coming down from the drugs is a phrasal verb. Okay? Or I'm coming up from a drug, that is a phrasal verb. But I'm coming up the stairs is not. So stand down, the president of the US decided to stand down after he bombed everybody out of existence. Stand down, that is a phrasal verb. The idiom is a simple expression, example, kick the bucket. Where the component, it's basically a phrasal, similar to a phrasal verb. Collocation, heavy smoker, heavy drinker. Whereas if you speak another Italian, for example, they say strong smoker, and big sleeper. Okay, they're collocations. Right. So the phrasal verb, to sum up energy, to go off your job, to snap out of something. These are high-level phrasal verbs, please understand that. You may be to the point where these are quite rare. You know, I've never actually used to hanker after something in my life. And I'm nearly 50, I've never used it, okay? So you can also do that, but guys, don't worry about that one. Pick and choose, if need be.
But snap out of it, I think briefly.
Oh yeah, absolutely, snap out of it. Come on, snap out of it. Because it's more of a useful one. These, I pick and choose what I feel will be useful to them. If you can't see it, I apologise. Go off a job, not care for something, which is not really a phrasal verb. Have something against somebody. Turn somebody against you. Work yourself into a state. Okay. Idioms. Something is rock hard, stark naked, stone cold, piping hot, squeaky clean. Okay. These are idiomatic. Okay, sorry. I did this today and okay. These are not idioms. Okay, they're not. They're slightly more of emphasis of adjectives.
I thought idioms were phrases such as
Yeah.
"you're driving me up the wall."
Yes, they are. That's why I just checked that. I did this today for you guys, and that's within the book of idioms there are collocations. Okay. So collocated words that go together because they sound natural. To provide relief, a fresh drive for something, make a plea, break the cycle, dysfunctional family. So there are always minimum two words in a collocation. Words that go together for fluent and natural English. That's all it is. Okay. Even words that mean very. Okay, so you could have, for example, painfully shy, but you wouldn't have, for example, painfully difficult. It doesn't go together. Okay?
Raving mad.
Raving mad, such as I am. That's it.